June 19th, 2015. That's when I first made my YouTube channel. That is 10 years ago. I believe there's a lot of reflection to be had after reaching such a milestone, like how far I've come and how I've improved my skills. I did make a video for my 5-year anniversary, but it was more so about my mental health and passion over time rather than the technical process and skills utilized in video making. Also, half of it was trauma dumping and it was very bad. So I want to make this video discussing my process of creating videos over time and how I've learned over the years. I got introduced to LPS 2 by a friend I made in 2015, and she showed me some apps called VideoFX Live and VideoStar. We would make fun little videos with them until it eventually branched off into me starting my YouTube channel. Despite being introduced to those apps earlier, I did not start off using them. I didn't have a phone, so my very first videos were made with my mom's iPod. I guess I couldn't download any extra apps due to storage, so I used the camera app to create my videos, recording almost everything in one take unless the setting changed. The editor I used in the beginning was iMovie on the family computer by exporting the footage from my mom's iPod. I would stick to all the basic features using the text, music, and sound effects already available in the app. Not having many options in said app, I quickly started utilizing a new tool, one you'll actually notice in my oldest posted video on LPS Allison TV, my dad's iPad. I would open YouTube on his device and look up whatever music or sound effects I wanted to use, then play it in the background of the recording. This way I wasn't just limited to iMovie. You can even see the iPad in the background of some of these videos. All I can say is when you're 11 years old and know nothing about making videos, you get creative. As for my sets at the time, they were very inconsistent. I utilized just about every surface in my room rather than committing to one filming space. These surfaces included a filing cabinet, my bookcase, the top of my dresser, and of course the carpet, a staple in any child's first LPS videos. I did get a little creative. I started using the backs of notebooks I owned at the time from my school sets. I would use some for the floors and others as the lockers, scribbling random crap on it to convey the idea of a school. It is charming, and I think I might do something like that in the future. It makes it one of a kind. And it feels honest, it feels handmade, and it feels like it was made with care. As for the thumbnails, I'm not really sure what happened at this time. Most of the videos still standing from this era clearly have automated thumbnails, and I paid them no mind. But then you have my first uploaded video with a clearly customized thumbnail. Maybe I had more passion for the anti-bullying video than the Joplin tornado of 2011, who knows? By the way, those videos are so strange. I don't know why I chose a real event and slapped LPS onto it. Anyway, I don't remember how I put together this thumbnail, but my guess is that I took a picture I wanted to use, exported it to the family computer, then used some unknown source to slap some scribbles and text on there. I don't remember what photo editor I used, but ain't she a beaut? Hard work pays off. Unfortunately, most of these videos are lost to the shadow realm. With time, I guess I got embarrassed and deleted a bunch of them from YouTube. Do not make that mistake, you will live to regret it like a Darman video. On top of that, my computer storing these videos broke a few years ago, so these sprinkles of my childhood are officially gone. But some of them do live on. At some point, I released a series called Reacting to Old Videos, which was less of me reacting to them and more just showcasing many of these old gems. These are the only remains I have from this era. Being a child, I obviously didn't prioritize professionality, but instead mindlessly made videos for fun. But I still wanted to improve and be like all the big cool LPS tubers, so something had to give eventually. You remember my dad's iPad? At least you should, it's been like 2 minutes since we mentioned it. I eventually moved on from the iPod and started using my dad's iPad for all the filming. Unfortunately, this came with sacrificing my tool for background music, which led to me using more audio from iMovie. I did, however, have the opportunity to now download VideoFX Live and VideoStar. I was definitely excited about that because all of a sudden I was making music videos left and right. The most distinctive feature from this era was the high angles due to how large the iPad was compared to the LPS. I would have to bend it way down just to catch the characters in frame. Around this time, my friend at some point brought over her entire LPS collection, various other toys, and then just didn't take them back until she moved states. So during this time, I had a massive collection and more sets to utilize. With that, my options expanded and my set started to improve. I'd still rotate between various spaces, but I also started making my own sets and props. As for the thumbnails, it's a mixed bag. Sometimes it was an automated image, other times it was custom made. All I know is these custom thumbnails were likely made using the same strategy as my first video. They've got similar scribbles and loud text, and for whatever other reason, big black bars on the tops and bottoms of the frame. Now there came a point where my dad randomly let me borrow his phone for videos. This quickly turned into me just owning the phone and him buying a new one to use. I cannot pinpoint the moment this change took place, but it was out with the high angles and in with better filming positions. I slowly began to neglect my computer, however, and only used VideoFX Live for regular videos and VideoStar for music videos. You want to know how I found the audio for these music videos, by the way? I downloaded the Podcasts app and looked up whatever music I wanted to use, only to find strange and obscure remixes instead of the originals. Anyway, I got pretty comfortable just using VideoFX Live to the point I neglected editing, rarely adding music or sound effects. As you may know, this lack of editing seeped into Sheila Goodwill, my first LPS series. Finally, shortly before the next era, I had finally gotten comfortable— wait, that says finally twice. I had gotten more comfortable with a certain filming space. My mom offered to set my black bookcase on its side so I had a much bigger surface to work with, and that remained my space for a long time. After getting grounded for a month, I suddenly realized iMovie also has a mobile app, meaning I could use it without having to export footage to my computer. So I tested the waters with the trailer for a project I never released. I sort of abandoned VideoFX Live here. I found that iMovie had a recording function, and with that I had everything I needed in one convenient app. That said, recording all these individual clips became very annoying because of the long pauses I'd had to take in between them. I would have to confirm that I'm satisfied with the clip, add it to the project, then continue. Due to the tedious nature of this task, my videos became way more rushed and the pacing was downright diabolical. A great example is LPS Because of You. That shit was all over the place, not just in terms of plot, but also pacing. You cannot tell what the fuck is happening, ever. Due to me mostly just using iMovie on my phone, I barely touched my computer, so the thumbnails slowly became either automated or less detailed. Probably for the best, to be honest. And at last, music, sound effects, and other basic editing came back into play. In terrible quality. You see, I hadn't quite let go of my dad's iPad at this point. With iMovie's voice recording option, I would stick the iPad next to my phone and play whatever audio I needed on YouTube. I would like to point out that I'd be sitting there in silence while the audio recorded, desperately trying not to make a sound. I specifically remember in Because of You's intro, you could hear one part where I accidentally hit a table or something. This whole process worked, but the recording was tedious and the camera quality didn't seem as good as before. I missed VideoFX Live. I liked its efficiency. I liked the little effects that it had as an option. And that's when I had a revelation. So one night I was wandering around my living room thinking to myself about videos and the process. I missed VideoFX Live, I enjoyed it, and it made recording easier, but I didn't have any of the basic editing options iMovie had to offer. And then I remembered, oh yeah, can't I just use both? Exporting footage, the thing I did in the beginning, can you imagine? So I started recording videos on VideoFX Live, then importing them in my camera roll, then to iMovie for the editing process. I specifically remember something annoying about this time period. Even though I had permission to upload videos longer than 15 minutes on YouTube, iMovie wouldn't allow it. I couldn't export it directly to the app. I would have to save it to my phone and then upload it from there, which often crunched the quality. So I mostly avoided making lengthy videos even though it limited me. I went along with this VideoFX Live to iMovie formula for years. It was just comfortable and it worked out. And believe it or not, I use a pretty similar process today. But filming and editing aside, there are some other technical aspects of my videos that would change throughout the years. Let's talk about... I got a new phone at some point in 2017, and on that phone was GarageBand. I could have downloaded this app anytime I wanted, but the thought didn't cross my mind whatsoever until it was given to me. I decided to fool around in the app, thus starting a new and dreadful era that I refer to for years as the lazy era. The main indicator of this time is the use of GarageBand music, because once I discovered I could throw together random sound effects and get something resembling a song out of it, I abandoned Kevin MacLeod and any other music I used for my videos at the time. I fully immersed myself in this easy background music, and as a result, the same 9 shitty dubstep songs would play in hundreds of videos I made during this time. The song never fit the mood, most of the time you could barely hear it and it was just downright awful. I let this shitty ass music overshadow my view of this entire era of the channel, hence the name Lazy Era. It's the music that was lazy, and it slowly sucked the fun out of the other aspects of video making. Once you stop being creatively driven in one department, it can seep into others, and that's what started to happen. It doesn't help that I literally uploaded every single day, so I put this pressure on myself to keep posting, so I had to favor quantity over quality. Another issue I had was my new phone. For some reason, as I recorded, the audio would randomly get muffled mid-clip, and I never figured out how to prevent it or what caused it.
I know, right? I thought I was the only one who felt that way about her, honestly. I have many mixed emotions right now, and I kind of just want to face the ignorance so that I can enable comments forever again. This is harder than I thought it would be.
I even made a video years later asking my audience if they noticed it because I felt like I was losing my damn mind. As for thumbnails, they were almost entirely automated. There were only a handful of times I'd put any effort into making custom thumbnails, and even then it was just text that clashed with the colors present in the image. But then there'd be times where I'd randomly pull up with something like this. Sure, it's not the prettiest time for LPS on TV, but it was one of the major parts of the channel, considering it was at its peak popularity here. After a long, comfortable time of using my black bookcase for filming, my sister moved out and left behind her room and her furniture. Among this furniture stood a white nightstand and a white desk, and since most LPS videos used a white table, I was desperate to get my hands on something similar, and here was my ticket. I would alternate between the nightstand and the desk randomly, both had their ups and downs. While the nightstand was more comfortable, it was positioned under my window in such a way it would often make the lighting look weird. Plus, it was such a small space and didn't leave much room for sets. The desk, on the other hand, allowed me to utilize a bigger space and have better lighting, but was horribly uncomfortable. I was on my knees filming at my bookcase and nightstand before, but now I was using a cheap, broken stool to sit at this desk that was not made for sitting at. And that is, of course, because this desk was a dresser. Despite not at all being designed for what I had in mind, I was persistent and continued using that thing for years despite the discomfort and body pain it gave me. With time, I slowly but surely abandoned the nightstand. While not the greatest time for filming, I did manage to let go of those black bars in the thumbnails. I don't know how. I don't think I changed whatever the hell I was using to design my thumbnails. I think I just figured out how to fix the problem. In late 2017, I finally hit a wall and got burnt out from constantly making videos. So I quit, only for a few months before I easily got sucked back in. A well-deserved break was really all I needed, and it was proven by how my videos immediately began to improve again. Gone were the days of shitty GarageBand tracks, and back in was Kevin MacLeod in all his glory, except he uses AI now, so I don't like him anymore. Alongside this, I improved a lot of other aspects of my videos like the acting and characters. That being said, I didn't change much technically. VideoFX Live and iMovie remain my trusty tools, as well as whatever mystery editor I used for my thumbnails at the time. Through 2018, unfortunately, I struggled mentally and it had an effect on my hobby, of course. In late 2018, my videos dwindled out yet again, though I was trying so hard to just create and find that spark. I'm not sure how, but I eventually did and returned better than ever in 2019. This was when shit got real. I came back in 2019 by finishing up miniseries and projects that were years old, a movie, a reboot, and even my own apology video for some petty bullshit that everyone does online at a young age, so who even cares? My passion was through the roof, and I found myself enjoying creating like I hadn't recognized since 2017. That all said, not much changed technically, aside from subtle improvements in editing, acting, and other aspects. I did start learning how to use more features of VideoFX Live, like multi-layer and other tools, and it really helped me branch out and find an editing style at the time. One notable feature from this time, however, was my thumbnails. I'd suddenly got really attached to PicMonkey, a free photo editor. It seemed simple enough for thumbnails, so I got to work and actually had a lot of fun with it. That being said, some of these thumbnails ended up feeling a little artificial and stumbled into clickbaity nature, though it wasn't my intention. Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. My motivation once again dwindled out as fall approached and... oh. Yeah, I abandoned the channel. Ever since I started up the new channel, things were never quite the same. The reason I abandoned LPS Awesome TV can honestly be chalked up to melodrama. I was going through some weird mental shit that I now look back on as an adult and could not possibly give less of a damn about. That said, I guess I shouldn't completely brush it off. I was still a kid and didn't know how to handle it. So I ran. I ran away and started a clean, fresh slate. I don't necessarily regret this, but I think it'd be better if all my videos were on one channel. It's all part of one big journey, and certain parts shouldn't be separated just because I'm ashamed of them or whatever else. But I'm getting sidetracked. Upon making this new channel, I immediately got experimental. I was messing around with different editing apps at the time because I was so fed up with iMovie and its weird glitches and corruptions that would screw with my projects. I started making different kinds of content I hadn't made before, drawing for my thumbnails and even posting animatics. It was actually pretty freeing to just dump whatever I wanted on here. My thumbnails were a lot more art and meme focused, but I continued using PicMonkey for the simpler ones. Unfortunately, my mental health and life in general were unpredictable. On top of that, I was too hard on myself about becoming more professional and upgrading to a camera in the future, forbidding myself from having fun if my videos didn't reach a certain standard. I felt like I had so little control over myself, my videos, and my ideas. This all led to sporadic uploading throughout the years. I would come back, post a couple videos, then disappear into the void. Something had to change, and life wasn't going to change for me. I had to take accountability and look at the problems myself. After a lot of mental health improvement, I was able to properly lay out the things holding me back from creating through this video. Once I had the problem spelled out for me, I could solve the root of each one. And damn it, I did. The white dresser I mentioned earlier that was so uncomfortable was holding me back more than I ever admitted. This is why, for a short period of time, I used my parents' computer desk, something that was actually designed for sitting at. Once I realized how much better I felt, I knew this was the key to getting back into creating, a comfortable filming space. On top of that, I was now comfortable with my filming and editing. I'd found a style that worked for me. It simply came down to getting this new desk I have here, which is so much more comfortable and motivates me to create. Now, a big factor to discuss here is my thumbnails. I started drawing a lot of my thumbnails, mainly because having LPS in the thumbnail would cause the comments to be turned off. I've recently overcome this problem because I could just turn the comments back on and then they'll be left alone. I used to have to fight the system to keep them on, but I guess they sort of just gave up. That said, I like drawing for my thumbnails, but I also like having LPS in my thumbnails. It's simpler and a better representation of the content. These days, I just do whatever feels right. As for editing these thumbnails, I just use PicMonkey or CapCut because it has an option for photo editing. I don't do anything real ambitious with them, usually just text and sometimes a nice filter. As for my sets, I started to get a lot more creative. I've started making entire rooms and new props for my videos, like the coffee shop you saw in 10 Things I Hate About Coffee, or the set I have for Tattoo Crew. I've moved away from official LPS houses and props because I want my sets to be one of a kind. It's not like I'll never use them, but I'm given so much more freedom by creating my own original works that can say something about my story or characters. And after years of being stubborn and insisting that I didn't want to use a script and that it'd be unnatural and that I could improvise just fine, I finally caved and started script writing. I don't use them for all of my videos necessarily. 10 Things, 10 Types, and probably other skits will be exempt from this. Even some of my series will be improvised, like Tattoo Crew. I still value improv and it allows me more freedom in some of my more laid-back videos. That said, scripts can also really help me stay on track when it comes to rambling, series, and films. Ironically, the video discussing why I supposedly can't make LPS videos started a whole new era for LPS videos. And that's my journey thus far. 10 years of making videos and I have yet to touch a real camera. I pressured myself to spend more money and use cameras and expensive editors to make better videos, but the actual interest in that isn't strong enough to warrant taking action. I'm perfectly content with just my phone and my imagination. At the end of the day, making these videos is a hobby and I wouldn't want to turn it into a job or an obligation. I finally feel free, like I'm in a comfortable spot where I'm proud of each of the videos I make. This is a bit sudden, but years ago I promised a Q&A and never delivered, so I think it's finally time to get around to that. Please leave any questions you have for me in the comments below. It seems appropriate. The 10-year anniversary was a couple months ago, and I think my last Q&A was whatever I put up because I don't even remember. It had to be at least 6 years ago. So leave any questions below, and I'll see you all later.